Well, for this project, to put the winch on the floor, this is going to be really cool. I can't wait to use this thing. I had to get a winch. I went to my favorite store shopping, Harbor Freight, and picked up this is a 5,000 pound, little overkill. The car, to pull the car in the garage, the car is going to weigh about 3,000 pounds. At some point, maybe pull in something a little heavier, but my driveway has a little slope. So the slope's going to make it a little tougher to pull up. So I thought I'd overkill the weight a little bit and be just fine. And there wasn't that much difference between like the 3,500 pound and the 5,000 pound winch. So this thing looks cool. It's got a 50 foot of cable. My son and I went out and measured it. It gets it out really close to the ideal spot. I may have to put a little cheater 15 foot piece maybe on it to start with, and then once it pulls into the 50 foot spot, I can chalk a tire, rehook up, and then just hook up to this. But so this is what I got. I wanted to make this. I'm going to bolt this to the floor. I'm kind of run through this real quick, and then I'll get a little more specific. This is going to bolt to the floor. This is going to bolt to this. I want to be able to stick it in the receiver, use it, take it off, and put it away. So I haven't drilled the holes yet, but I'm going to put a hole in the corners here. This is a really thick plate. I didn't even measure this thing, but I went to the yard. What is that? It's a 1/2 inch thick. Is it? I can't read it upside down. Yeah, it looks like it's a 1/2 inch thick. So I went to the yard store downtown in Wichita. I was looking for a piece of just like 1/4 inch or 5/16, just like a 12 by 12 piece-ish, and wasn't sure what they'd have, so I went and looked, and they had a little rack inside the store. Had this plate, already 12 by 12, grabbed it, got it for like 25 bucks. It'll be perfect. It wasn't 12 by 12, I'm sorry. It was 12 by 10 3/4. 12 across and 10 3/4 that way. I cut it down to like 7 1/4 in the back here. It didn't need to be that big, but there's gonna be holes in this. The ideal spot, this is gonna be to pull in the middle, somewhere in this area here in the floor is where it's gonna go. Just my pointer, bap, bap. It's just a broom. So I had to get a concrete bit. It's a 5/8 bit. These concrete floor anchors. I'll drill the holes. This will make a 1/2 inch bolt. I'll put them in the floor. I'll bolt this down. So this is just 2-inch receiver stuff. Obviously the pin goes in there. So this is just a 2-inch receiver for a truck or whatever. I don't know if it has a. I don't know. It doesn't really have much of a drop, but the bottom of this is cleaned off. This is the mounting plate for the winch. So I thought I was going to do something. I thought I was going to have to do something real trick and different or whatever. But once I got home with everything and looked at it, under the winch is the 4 mounting holes. It's going to bolt to these outer 4 holes from the bottom. So the winch will sit on there. It'll bolt up from the bottom. I'm going to weld around the bottom of this thing. I've got it all. I did a little pre-work, some pre-cleaning, pre-grinding, just because video grinding powder coat probably isn't a real great chunk of video. So I already done some of that. The winch will mount on top of this. This will be welded. Then this front part here, it bolts to these 2 holes here. So that'll be cool. This will be removable. Pull the pin, I can take it out and go stash it on the shelf or whatever, and it'll go in here, real low to the ground. My driveway has a slope to it, so I also thought maybe at some point might need to make a adapter because this will put the cable really low to the ground. I might need to make an adapter here that raises the cable and this up a little bit to get a better angle down the slope of the driveway. But this is kind of just a first little overlook of the components. I got to do some welding. That's a piece of cake. I like doing some welding, so I'm going to get things set up to weld and probably run a little video welding stuff. And it comes with all the, you know, cables and electronics and a little, this is like a solenoid, or I forget what it's actually called. It comes with got a switch. This would be a cool deal. I got the plate and receiver dealy clamped up. I got to tack it a few places and then weld it up. I still got to drill the 4 holes in the big mounting plate, but I'll get this welded up and let it cool off while I drill the holes and get that piece welded up next. Burning a little powder coat. It's gonna stink a little bit, but that's the way it goes. Already killed a tungsten. It happens. Alright, I can take that clamp off here. Don't need that. I'm going to weld. Obviously, I'm going to weld all the way around this, around here, around there, around there, and then across there. You can't hardly see it, but I got that powder coat ground off of there. I missed a little spot. You can barely see it. That stinks. Wow. That's going to literally, like I say, that stinks because it sucks that I missed that. But it's going to stink when I weld across it. Oh well. That's the way it goes. Yeah. I need to hit these tips with the grinder real quick, so I got a good ground on there. Let me smoke this real quick. It's gonna be laying on the bench with those ears down like that. Oh, you can't even see that. Right there, those ears that I ground across there and there. I'm gonna need that to ground. Can't ground through that powder coat. It eventually does. It kind of burns it up. Let me tip this a little different. All right, now ready. Burn a lot. All done. Ta-da! All right, that's that. We'll do some more welding after we get some of the other stuff ready, but that's all for this piece. I've got this located on the plate where I want it. I'm going to weld across. I'm going to weld across the face of this. I've got the centers marked out. I'm going to weld across the back. And then I added these little side supports for a little extra meat to weld. So I'm going to weld this up tonight. This is the last thing I'll do tonight. And then they'll be ready for whatever I want to do tomorrow when I start messing with it. It'll be all cooled off. It'll be good to go. Change out the tungsten. Here we go. Hi, Tiff. My wife is home from her walk. She went walking. I get a little prop. Put this up a little bit, like that. Okay, I'm going to take the phone off of here. I'm trying to move it too much. And I'll go to the front. So here's where I welded. Went along the side underneath there. This is the front. This is where the receiver goes in there, chunk, and then it pins through there. So weld across the front. Got it up along there, and then added this gusset here, that gusset over there, and welded across the back. Now you see this is flat. This, because it has this extra band around it, it's higher here than it is here. It's sitting on an angle. I don't know what the angle is, but obviously you can see it. And I was going to flatten it out, but that put the bottom part of the receiver that goes in pretty close to the ground. So this little angle picks it up off the ground just a tiny bit, and that'll be perfect. It'll be just right for what I want to do. So that's it. That's all the welding on this. That might be all the welding on. No, it's almost all the welding, but this will be good enough to get this. Gotta drill the holes in the concrete and bolt this down and maybe try it out tomorrow. That's all for today. Now that I got this plate welded and these gussets back here, all of this whole unit is welded. This plate and the receiver piece all welded up. Next I gotta make a bracket that holds the, what in the world is this called? Okay, this is called the solenoid. I was right. So the solenoid, and there's wires that hook to this, gonna hook out here to the motor of this thing. So I need a bracket that holds this and holds the plug-in for the remote switch to go in and out. It's a corded switch. It's not really remote. It's not cordless. It's corded. It's going to plug into here. So I need to make a bracket for this. If I couldn't overkill this anymore, I'm going to super overkill this, because this is a leftover chunk that I cut off of this big mounting plate. And since I have it, I'm going to use it. It doesn't need to be a very big chunk, but I'm going to, and so this will, when this is cut down the way it needs to be, this is going to mount on here, and above it, up there, right above it, where it's easy to plug in and out, is going to be the receptacle for the switch. So I want this to be kind of straight up and down-ish, and I'm going to weld this thing to this portion of the receiver, but I want it to be straight. I've already got it marked on the angle here. So I'm going to go to my bandsaw and I'm going to cut that. So move over here to the bandsaw. I've already got that angle set on the bandsaw. The depth there doesn't really matter because I'm going to cut it to the length I need. I just need that angle. Clamp it up here and cut this sucker off. And it should be pretty close. Tight. Okay, I'm gonna move my phone back over here without making you sick. Let's see if I'm close. Give it a quick deburr. Get my glasses on. Let's check this out. Saw did a really good job cutting across there. Love my Grizzly bandsaw. I don't know what the angle is. I didn't check the angle. I just eyeballed it and marked it. But from what I see right there, that is good enough. And let's see. And it just happens to be, you know, it's pretty good width. For this, I got to put a couple holes. I'm gonna drill a hole for each side of this, and get the other piece set up here and determine a spot where that hole needs to be. But I'm gonna prepare to do that. Get this stuff marked out, and maybe video drilling. I know drilling's kind of boring, but that'll be good for this little segment. And I'll get some holes drilled. I got my spots marked out, the holes. I need a 1-inch hole here and a 1-inch hole down here. You can't see that, but I got the 1/4-inch pilot holes drilled. I'm gonna use a rotor broach. I'm not gonna video drilling all these, probably just this one here with this rotor broach cutting this hole in this 1/2-inch thick plate. This thing works really good. I'm not sure if it'll go all the way through on one hit, or if I'll need to turn it over and hit it from the other side. I'll find out in a little bit. I think it might go all the way on this side. I don't remember how deep this rotor broach is on the inside. Sounds like it's getting close. And got it. I use this rotor broach because they make a really good hole. I used to use hole saws a lot until my buddy Tim turned me on to the rotor broach. I think the light isn't very good, but man, it makes a nice hole. It doesn't chatter and bounce around and get all crazy. I got everything cleaned up, all my holes drilled, the back of the bracket up here. I got it, the thickness cut away. I did it on the bandsaw. You've seen that. It's all cleaned up, deburred. It's good. I've got this is turning out like just like I wanted it to. So this is the piece I cut out on the bandsaw, and I got the angles lined up using a 246 block and a quick clamp deal to hold it there. I'm gonna smoke some tacks on it and weld her up, and that should be the end of the welding for this for sure for this plate. And when it cools off, I'll get some paint on it. And the next thing I'll need to do, I think, is get some holes in the floor to mount the mounting plate. So we'll get this thing tacked and welded. And that should be good enough for some tacks. I'll put one more over here before I unhook everything. See if I can keep it in. Yeah, there we go. While that's clamped and that weight is holding it there, I'm just going to weld the sides, and I'm going to weld both sides and weld across the front, and I'll do the back last. Let's see, a new block. Fresh piece of rod here. Got my hand right in the way of the camera, don't I? Pretty much. There we go. Weld her up. All that's left is to weld the back side. Turn up my power a little bit. It was almost a little cold. Move that clamp, move the block, move spacers. Now it's going to weld across there. I like it. It's looking good. Maybe I'll set it like this. My hand in the way? Yep. Didn't weld too bad. Shut this water cooler off, it's loud. There. Got it welded all the way around. There's the front, and the side, back, and the other side. This thing's heavy. It's a ridiculous overkill bracket for the solenoid and the plug-in, but it's ain't a big deal. It's just after I got done welding this piece on, I painted it. After it dried, I put the both of the, I guess you call this the cable guide, onto the bottom plate. Bolted the winch to the plate. I drilled the 4 holes in the concrete to bolt it down, and used these 1/2-inch concrete anchors. Got them at Home Depot. I stopped at O'Reilly's today and got these quick release battery, I guess they're called battery cables, the power cables for the winch. Because when I want to get this out of here, I'm going to pull the pin, undo these, and take this off, and then this can stay. The battery can stay. And right now I'm going to undo all this, and I got some 1x1 angle. I'm just going to weld a little, I guess you call it a little battery tray, onto the main plate here that goes around, that this battery sits on. Then it can just stay sitting there. It'll just be a little platform to sit on. So that's what I'm going to do next. And I'm going to shorten this. This is really long. I don't need all this wire. I'm going to shorten this up because this is going to go to the these two will go to the solenoid, and this loose red one will go to the hot side of the battery. So I don't need all this. It's way too long. And then the other battery cables, I'll probably shorten them up too. But that's where I'm at now. I'm going to go make a battery tray for this and weld it on, and have that step done. So that's what I'm going to do now. Weld on the corners, and it'll be done. God, I got my hand right in the way. Can't see none of this. This is terrible. Need to move the camera back a little bit. Last weld. There. Well, there's that. While this is cooling off, I'm going to unbolt the big plate from the concrete and get it ready for welding this on. Well, this little winch in the floor project is pretty much done. I just need to bolt everything down to the floor, but while it was still on the bench, I thought I'd just shoot a little bit of quick video. I skipped some stuff, where I welded this little battery tray and stuff. I might be able to include some of that in a little bit of edited stuff. It just really wasn't good video, but I shortened some wires. These battery wires, they came pretty long. You know, this thing was meant to go in a truck. So I shortened the power wire, shortened the ground wire, shortened these little wires that go to the solenoid. If you're not using it like on a vehicle, this little red wire here that would be like to an ignition source that's not going to be on this because it's not on a car, it goes to the positive side. So I included it in there, and it's all heat shrunk up in there. This cable, I wanted to get rid of this steel cable. I wanted to use a nylon cable, and I actually bought one, so this is really important. I wanted to get a nylon cable, and I ordered this on Amazon. It's a 50-foot, 1/4-inch nylon cable. It's meant to like attach to the side with a bolt. This winch, the cable doesn't hook like that. This winch has like a pass-through hole on the wheel. So the cable passes through a hole, and then it has a set screw that holds it down. This won't work like that. This is too fat to fit inside the hole that runs through the barrel, I guess you could call it. So I'm going to think about that for a while and think about what I'm going to do. I really want to use this because I've been at the racetrack when these solenoids, I've seen it happen one time where this solenoid will stick, and I seen it stick on the go-in portion, and it was hooked to my buddy Chris's car. The solenoid stuck, pulling the car into the trailer, and it stuck on the in portion of the in and out. And luckily he had a nylon rope, and it came in, the car got up against the golf cart, and once it pulled so hard, eventually it snapped the nylon. It messed up his fender, messed up the hood a little bit, The golf cart was between the car and the cabinets in the trailer, but you know, this stuff isn't going to break. This is really strong stuff. So I wanted to use this stuff where if something happened to the solenoid, I could just you know, slice that real quick. But I'll figure out that down the road. So this is pretty much a complete operation. I'm going to throw this little camera in my holder here, and there'll be one more video after this. I'll grab this with little Harbor Freight jobber, little handheld piece, in, out, boom, look at that, in, there we go, just like that. So only thing left to do now is kind of take the battery out, slide, I guess I can show this real quick. There's the pin through the receiver there, and then the little keeper key will hook on through there, little slot. I'm going to bolt it down, and this will be a cool little setup, and I'll have one more video before this whole project completes, and I'll show it all mounted up on the floor, and it'll be done. There it is, bolted to the floor. Pretty much complete. Then when I'm not using it, I'll just pull that pin, slide that receiver out, you know, and unhook the battery. I can leave the battery there. I've got a little battery tender I can hook on the battery and keep it charged. Then just grab this unit and like set it on the shelf. So it's ready. Cool, I love it. I'll be looking forward to using that. So I may probably do one more video of this thing, dragging the car up the driveway into the garage. So just about finished with this project. But here's the last chunk of video I need to include in this to finish this out. This thing is all installed, battery is on it, it's all hooked up. I even got the cable drawn out, and it's hooked up to the car. So if you live that sloped driveway life like I do, you'll know the struggle of a non-running car try to get it back in the garage. So what I'm going to do now is winch it back in. I'm going to set this up right here on the deal and hit the button and drag it in. It's moving it at a decent little pace. It's not terribly slow and it's not super fast. It's just about right, good and controllable speed. I will say that this car had a big block in it. It's going to have a small block now, but it's got some 200-pound springs on the front, and that's why it's sitting so crazy high there. So there will be a spring change, and also you can see where the cable comes underneath that nose there. There's a hook right back there on the K-member. I'm gonna have to do something different that lowers that cable way down, because when the new engine is in and the new springs are in, there are gonna be a considerably lighter spring. That cable is gonna have to be way lower because this car is gonna sit pretty low to the ground. So I'll have to figure out some kind of attachment on the bottom of the K-member or something to get that cable to ride really low. Let me just, I'm gonna unhook this and hold the phone and finish dragging it in. And that's pretty much it. It's back inside, easy peasy. All right, that's the end of this. Thanks for watching.